Okay, so here we are in the Dancing Flames movies. Now, so I brought this flame over for a bit further fun. And you can add anything you want, any of your flames. You can load them in, you can add them from clipboard, add from editor, or even add them from the disk, so you can pick up any old flames that you have. So I might bring up, oh yeah, Gnarly Fun Dude, he's kind of cool. Yeah, we can use him, and we can maybe use something else. And let me see, Rolling Along, yeah, I'll use that one. I'll use the original. Alright. So there's 3 flames. I might generate a few as well, just to have a little bit of fun. And the kind of things that I might want to go with would be either gnarls kind of thing to go with what I have, and actually the xenomorphs are kind of cool as well, so I might just go with the xenomorphs, and I'll create, say, another 7. We'll have 10 in total. Okay, so there we go. So these are all automatically generated. If there's something you don't like here, you can delete it before we even start. Not sure I like that one, so we'll create another 4. No, actually 6. Right, let's see. This is the new lot. Yeah, okay. Let's put some movements on these guys, okay? And you know, for the show here, just gonna load a sound, and let me see. We'll go with Weird, Sick, Twisted. Now, create motions. This will actually attach motions to all of these flames automatically. And as you can see in here, we have links. We have links between the actual fast Fourier transform, which is using the audio input. Depending on which channel, you get different kind of frequency bands, and so on and so forth. Anyway, each one of these flames, when you open them, here's all the different things attached as far as settings, amount, that's the actual weight of that particular transform, all of these things, and also like their angles and all this kind of stuff. And you can also play with things like the shading, the color, you can change the brightness, saturation, all that kind of stuff, right? Now, we've used the automatic side of things right now just to get a kind of a nice bit of movement automatically. You can then adjust all these things afterwards as you please, and you can go through each one of these and see what is being automatically attached. In most cases, it comes up with a fairly cool supply of movements. And then you just go to your flames here. And you just step through them. You can either, you know, when you open this list, you can use your keyboard arrow keys. Frames per second up here won't be enough to keep up 100%, so there's a bit of lag here, but you can see that things are going already. And you can click your way through here to whatever flame you want to use. Basically cutting this in real time. You're not recording it yet. This is just a run through to see what it feels like. here between the different flames. Can be a bit laggy depending on how complex the actual flame is. Anyway, I'm happy enough with that setup. If I wasn't, I can just add or change these motions any way I please. So say for example this flame here, we want to do something with the color, the animated Xenospasm 1. So all I have to do is figure out which one of these things I'm going to be playing with. So let's say change the color. Saturation. Okay, so I'm just picking that and I'm just going to add an FFT again, add motion, link it to saturation, add the link, and bring on the amplitude, and maybe change the average size. Now the most important thing is it start off as channels here, which means nothing, so you just pick a channel like lower numbers is lower frequencies. Anyway, let's start the show and see what happens. Okay, saturation, as you can see. Now if I wanted to, I can link that to other flames. The same link can be attached to multiple things. Okay, so let's say we go with saturation on this one too and add the link there, right? Okie dokie, so start the show and have a look. So now we have that one and this one. And I could go and cobble all these guys together and, you know, have lots of fun with it. Alright. So I'm going to set up a few connections. I'm going to pause this so you don't have to watch me do all that stuff. Right, so I've added saturation links to all of these flames. So 15 flames. I've just animated all the different things and I've tagged in the saturation to all of them. So when we have a look, and I'm using 10 frames or more from between each one. Once we get OpenCL GPU rendering put into JWildfire, this window could be full size. As you can see on this system, it's an AMD, fairly low spec. You won't get much of a feedback, but if we're doing this in GPU, do it very small, you can see I'm getting about 12 frames a second. enough talk. Let's start the show, and this time let's record it. Before we do stuff like that, is a good idea to save stuff. And we'll do dancing flames. And we'll create the Xeno party with Homer. Right, and we'll call it Xeno party with Homer. That's the file name. I created the folder as well. We're going to stick all the flames into. Okay, now just in case we have a problem, we've saved the whole setup. Now all I have to do now is record the show. So pick whatever flame you're going to start with. These flames were automatically generated, all bar 2 of them, I think. I'm just using the arrow keys here, going in sequence.
stuff in that place last night. Weird, strange, sick, twisted, eerie, godless, evil stuff. And I want in.
Running this at 12 frames a second. So when I'm actually outputting this, I forgot to switch that. I keep on doing this. That's no problem, I'll fix it in post. All time stretch. Okay, that's the track nearly finished. Stop the show. Now, party, dance, Homer will do. And then we just put it in there, Xeno, party, Homer dance, or whatever. It doesn't really matter what you call it. Now, then you wait. The one thing here is that you actually don't have a clue. There's no progress bar here, okay? So, this is the point that a lot of people don't realize. You don't click on anything, you just wait and wait. Because it'll take as long, approximately, as the whole track, the actual soundtrack. What it's doing is, it's recording all your things when you're going through it in real time, first time. That's the record take. And then it has to go and basically produce everything synced up time-wise properly, because this is obviously not going to be 100% locked. Okay, folks, that took a little while, took about 5 minutes or so, and I had my cup of coffee. So if we look in here now, we have 5,408 frames, or flames as we can call this, right? So that's my whole animation. Now that needs to be rendered, and again, as I've been continuously begging you, we need to have GPU rendering in this place. This was my previous one. Now we're just gonna clear out all this and add dancing flames, Xena Potter Homer. You can just select one, use Control A to select them all, and then now I'm gonna set up this, because I'm not gonna have this running for days. I'm just gonna set up a new quality setup, and we're gonna create a new one. Video demo extremely low, and we're gonna use a 50. Apply and OK, and we're gonna go in here and apply that. Yeah, 1280 by 720. So I'm not doing this at full HD. I'm just running 720p because that'll go with this screen recording anyway. So all I have to do is render that and come back in in hours and hours from now and see how it went. Okay, folks, and here we are. We're about a day and a quarter or so later, about 30 hours or so of rendering. This is why it's essential that we look at GPU rendering, guys, because you know, we could have done this instead of 15 seconds a frame. We could have done this in split seconds a frame, and we could have done this kind of 5,000 frames in maybe an hour or so, you know, at the worst. So listen, that's it for inside of JWildfire. The next step is to go and get and look at this as an animation, and maybe apply some effects and things. Alright, I'll see you in the next clip. Bye. Okay, folks, this is Fusion, which is now available for free, the basic version, and it's an absolutely amazing Swiss Army knife type of kit for graphics and video animation, special effects, even film. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to drag in straight from the file manager. I'm going to drag in one of the PNG files we created, and it automatically knows it's a sequence. I can play it back straight from disk like this. As you probably have noticed, it's pretty quick because I actually forgot to change my frame rate before I recorded from 12 frames per second to 30. So the first thing we need to do is we need to do a time stretch, or in this case the simplest tool to use would be the time speed tool. To pick up a tool, you can either right click here and say insert tool and go and pick it from the miscellaneous time speed, or simpler still, use the shortcut, the tool selected, and then hold down shift and hit space, type in the first couple of letters, time speed, comes up, hit enter, and it's there. Right, so I'm going to view this, dragging it into my viewport like that to set this to be the tool to view. You can see the little light here shows that it's on screen 1. Now it's on view 2. You can switch them off as well like that. Now I'm only going to use a couple of tools, so I'm just going to switch my layout. So I actually only have a single screen here, and we're going to have it show like that. Actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this way so we can see the tool here. Right, tool controls are obviously simple in this case. It's a speed, delay, sample spread. Okay, so what did we have? We had, now I set my flows to be 20,000 frames if I do long jobs, and that's a good thing to start with. If you know you're gonna go over that, you need to increase the number of frames here. By the way, this is the global end time, global start time. This normally in Fusion is defaulting to 0, but you can type in what you want here and do what you normally used to. Anyway, so as we can see, this is going from frame 1 globally to frame 5408. We're going to extend that by using the time speed, and the speed is the same as 12 divided by 30. So that's 40% or 0.4. So you can type in numbers and equations and things straight in. Very handy. Right, so time speed is, if I drag it down here, we have 13,520 frames to do. So by just dragging a tool, you can actually set your render range here. Now, I'm not going to use that render range at this point. I'm just going to do some little, I can drag, this is the kind of the view range if you want. I'm just going to show you, say, 200 frames or something like that while I'm working on it. Okay, so we started off with this kind of speed. Now we've changed it to this kind of speed, and now I'm playing from the under the timeline here. And as you can see, it's doing a pretty darn good job here, and it's pumping away 21 frames a second. And once it's gone through once, the playback is 30 frames a second, so it's caching everything automatically. Right, so that's the time stretching done. So we've slowed the footage down to 30 frames a second, and or speeded it up, should we say, but added the frames that we didn't have in order to make this a little bit more palatable. We might want to use sample spread. If you use too much, it'll be too blurry, but what you're doing is you're mixing frames, the frame before and the frame after, and we're using about 20% here. We don't need more than maybe 12-15%, something like that. And see what that looks like. It softens up the kind of the jumps here a little bit. Anyway, I can then add whatever else I want tool wise. I could, for example, add some coloring and things like that. Color is just one thing we could add, but in my case, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little drip, because I want to show you how it looks without any kind of major post-production. So I'm just going to add Shift Enter the drip tool and drag it in here so we can see it. And here is a stationary drip. We're just basically looking through. What I want is to animate it, and let's set up a sort of an amplitude. It's a little bit too much, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit less. Something like that probably be nice, a bit softer. And also when you want to take the edge off something like this, you might want to dampen it a little bit as well. So you can basically flatten it out or smooth it out a little bit. So I'm going to use, say, something like this here. Frequency is how many of these ripples we have. I want to do sort of a nice smooth, not too much. I think I'll go for just the standard 10. So 10 ripples. And the face then is what I'm going to animate. So let's see, which way do I want to go? I want to go inwards, or zooming basically, kind of with the drip. And I'm going to try using something like this kind of minus 0.05 seems to be a good number here. Put in an equal sign and hit return. That opens up an expression window. And in here what I'm going to do is I'm going to have every frame I'm going to move by minus 0.05. So what I'm talking about here is time, which is a frame, times 0.05. Okay. No, actually, we're going to have minus negative number. Okay, so that's it, done. As you can see, the number updates. So that's a little formula there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to have a quick look. We put our formula in here for the face, and that's going to basically have the ripples traveling. As you can see here is green all the way. That means we've rendered into cache. So it'll play back in full speed. And that looks pretty cool. I'm happy with that. And because it's using expression, I don't have to hand animate splines and stuff. So very easy. All I need now is put in a saver, go for the whole duration of the actual number of frames that I'm going to create, and drop in a saver. And to add it to the flow, you can do it down here, or you can just drop it into the preview. And all you need to do now is to create a save file of whatever type you want. Fusion can understand pretty much any type of file you want. The only thing to remember is when you're creating videos, you should pick QuickTime movies, and then you just basically give it a name. And in this case, I like MP4s. I don't particularly like QuickTime, so what I'm going to do is, it doesn't matter actually. If you create an MP4 file, you can change it afterwards by renaming the file extension MP4 to .mov instead. It's the exact same file format. Right, so we're going to call this one Mumbo Jumbo Test. Put MP4 in the end. That way it knows automatically what it is I'm doing. It knows it's a H.264. And it knows it's QuickTime movies here, and so on. In here you can also determine what sort of quality you want to use, and so on. In my case, I'm not going to render this out because it's already done before. One thing I just want to mention to you is where you put sound files into Fusion, and that is here as part of the saver. So by just attaching the wave version wave file, it has to be wave files, otherwise it won't work. It uses uncompressed wave files in order to have the best quality, and this would then be saved out with your MP4 or your movie file as a combined movie. Anyway, if I play this, let's say we do 200 frames again, 300 frames. And you can probably hear there's a little bit of stepping there. But second time around, it's all cached. And that's it. All I have to do now is render the whole thing. And that concludes the production part of this, and in the next part you'll see the final result. Okay, thanks for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye.